Delaware's home prices are higher than they have ever been, all while eggs are expensive, the power bill's going up, and is there an end in sight to all of the madness going on right now? In this video, I'm going to break down the 3 years that have led us to where we're at right now so you'll know exactly why we're in this position and what the next year is going to look like with that information being known. My name's Zachary Faust. I'm a proud owner of Loft Realty, a veteran-owned and operated company here in Dover, and let's break it down. Do you remember when that guy bit that bat? It was like 2019, and then by 2020, they were saying, hey, go home from work, go home from school, it'll be 2 weeks, and you'll be right back into it. And then it turned into 2 years, and here we are today in a completely different world, quite honestly. And over those 2 years, while we're at home trying to figure out this new life that we're living and how to adjust, the government was making decisions and the Fed were making choices that were ultimately going to affect us for years to come. And we're sitting in those years now. So for one, the Fed lowered their rate to 0 over the summer of 2020, making money really easy to borrow. Interest rates remained super low. And their idea behind this was it was going to continue to ignite the economy, get people to go out and shop, go to the small businesses, take out the loans to keep things moving. Because if you remember, the world stalled, at least in America, for a good 6 months. The next thing that happened is they started printing checks, small checks. You may remember getting $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 at times, but at scale for the entire country, billions and trillions were being printed. The number actually being $5.6 trillion, which is 35% of our entire economy. To give another example, 60% of the money that's currently flowing, like the cash, was printed in the last 3 years. 60% of it. That's not healthy. And because of some aggressive moves by the government, we're now seeing the aggressive alternate. You print a lot of money and it's nice at first, but then inflation takes hold and everything gets more expensive. And as more people had more money, and frankly, after a year and a half of having to stay inside with their significant other, it led a lot of people to make the decision to either buy, live the rest of their life together, buy their own home, do something. So people were buying properties, buying cars, interest rates were low, things were great. But what was happening behind the scenes of that big fiasco in the housing market was offers. There were like 8, 20, 30 offers on a property. Price points were being jacked up by going over asking price. Cash, please guys, take our offer. We want this home so badly. And that caused home prices to slowly but surely keep going up. Because if you were the seller of a home and you knew you could get more for it because there's a bunch of people putting in cash offers, no inspections, they'll waive the appraisal, you're probably going to think of selling. And selling for the highest amount you possibly can. Now, the next thing that the Fed did to try to correct what was going on was to correct their initial moves, which was lowering the Fed rate to 0%, making money very easy to borrow, which led to mortgage rates being very low, which mortgage payments obviously were lower. So more people were buying houses. The problem is they decided to curb this insane demand of people wanting to buy properties by raising the interest rates sky high and fast. You can see on the graph here, but interest rates went from being in the average of 2 to 2.5% from 2020 into 2021. And by the fall of 2022, they had gone up to 6%. And just to give you perspective, as of the beginning of 2022, they were still in the high 2, low 3s. So this jump in interest rate was not only drastic, but fast. So in Delaware specifically over the last 3 years, the average home price, or median sale price, I should say, of a home was $225,000 as of 2019 into 2020. We look at today, that home, that exact home, the $225,000 house, is worth closer to $355,000, $360,000 with really no renovations, no changes outside of just making sure the home is still a home. On the other side of things, interest rates are so high that people who currently don't own a home are struggling to find opportunities to get into their first one. The other problem our economy is facing currently is the person over here with this $350,000, $360,000 house. They can't even touch their equity. They may have it, but they can't use it. And here's why. Reason is they can't find the next property they want to move into. And even if they do, it's going to be so much more expensive than what they're currently paying. And you may be thinking, Zach, that doesn't make too much sense. If they sold their $360,000 house and found an equal, $360,000 house, their payment should stay the same. Wrong. In 2019, 2020, all the way up until 2021, people were getting interest rates that were 2 and 3%, meaning on that $225,000 home, they were paying a mortgage of close to around $1,150 to $1,200, including insurance, including taxes. Whereas if they were to sell their home and go buy a new property of equal value, could literally be next door, their mortgage payment would skyrocket to more than $2,600. Because the mortgage is on a more expensive home and interest rates, like I said, are now in the mid sevens. So with all these factors, you may be asking yourself, what does that mean for the future for 2024 and beyond of the Delaware real estate market? Ultimately, the space we're in is extremely unpredictable, but just for fun, I'm gonna lay on 3 and next year we'll see how I did. Number 1, I see home prices continuing to go up, but at a much more normal rate, 3 to 5%. If you don't know, between 2019 and 2022, price points went up 36% nationally. That's close to 12% a year on average. That is not normal. It is not healthy. So getting back to a healthy growth of anywhere of 3 to 4% a year is going to be more than likely where we see 2024 going. Don't see prices going down. Number 2, interest rates more than likely stay above 5.75 throughout the entire year, meaning 2024. Now, interest rates, extremely tough to predict because Jerome Powell and the Fed keep changing their mind on what they want to do. But just based off common sense, which may also be something they're not utilizing as much as we'd like. Based off common sense, if we drop the interest rates below 5.5%, we're going to go through the same exact scenario we just went through with home prices skyrocketing. Reason being is because if we find ourselves in a world where many more people can afford to buy a home and also sellers can see themselves possibly selling because the interest rate they'll get on their next home isn't terrible anymore, we're going to see an influx of inventory, an influx of buyers, and an influx of insane competition that will drive prices higher and make that 3 to 4% that I just talked about go way up 10, 15% year over year, and we don't want to see that. The homeowners may be saying, yeah, I want my home value to go up, but the home buyers and the people looking to relocate, renovate, do whatever you do, the average person moves every 7 years, you're going to have to face the high prices at some point. That is, unless you're just going to stay in your 2% house until you die, which I have heard from a lot of people. And my third prediction is rental prices start to calm down. I may just be speaking from my own hope because I know there are so many people out there that are looking for rental properties, looking to get into a home, looking for somewhere to live. There are so many different developments that are in the works right now, so many different apartment complexes, so many different multifamily opportunities because investors see there's opportunity. Land developers see there are people that need these properties, need these units, and so they're making them. And over the next year or two, we're going to start seeing more and more pop up, more neighborhoods, more townhomes, more apartments, so that we can actually feed the need that is currently not being met by our lack of inventory. So first prediction, slightly higher prices, not a crazy amount. Second prediction, interest rates come down, but not drastically, more than likely not breaking below 6%. And if they do, they'll stay in the high 5s. And third, rental prices, just based off an increase in supply, should start to settle down and come down to a normal rate that's actually affordable. So with everything we just said about the last 3 years and with the next year in front of us, what do you think? What do you believe is going to happen, not only in the national market, but the Delaware market specifically? What will happen to home prices? Will we continue to grow in population? Will rental prices go down? Will they go up? Did I miss something? What do you think? Put it in the comments below. And by the way, if you're already here and you haven't hit the bell, you haven't liked, and you haven't hit that subscribe button, we work really hard on this content and would love for you to join us in conversation every week when we're putting it out. So again, Zachary Faust with Law for Realty. Looking forward to chatting with you again, and have a great one.